why we started the podcast. Thank you guys for the input that you guys had before, and everything that we know that the first one was going to be a little sketchy. This one may be a little sketchy too. You never know, but we're just working on the kinks, getting the kinks out and everything. So, Austin, why don't you tell them though why you started the podcast or why you wanted to start the podcast and stuff like that, or how you did it?
Oh no, first off, it's kind of fun to like build the set. That was kind of fun.
True.
And I don't know. It's just I always wanted to do like content creating, and I was like, well, I know Kellen pretty much my whole life, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was, we're always bickering one way or another. So I think that obviously just turns into a natural podcast. Obviously, it's not like we're just sitting here every day just talking natural or current events.
Yeah.
But I think with the natural arguments that we usually have, or like how we can just work off of each other, I think it's a pretty good fit to try to figure it out. And it's something, I mean, that's fun. And if it turns into something bigger, great. Yeah. But if it doesn't,
and I think great. Too, like the first one, we really didn't know if we wanted to actually put it out there because it was kind of our test run, but we kind of wanted it to be like the worst one so we can kind of see where we've evolved to.
Well, yeah, like we knew that there was going to be stuff that was screwed up.
Yeah, like the audio, there might be audio issues with this one too. We did some video setting stuff, we did some audio setting stuff, but it's still not perfect, but we're going to keep doing it.
I had to clip some stuff because Callie was typing instead of talking.
We got some nerves to get rid of for sure, for all of us.
And I think
it's kind of awkward.
Well, and it's like, even though there's nobody here, it's still an awkward thing being in front
and a
of
big
stuff.
issue, too, is there's a TV. You guys can't see it, obviously, but right in front of us, there's a giant TV where we're actually looking at ourselves. And for me, it makes it 3 times more awkward.
Do you think it's more awkward when you're actually looking at yourself compared to if there was an audience out there?
Well, no, I'd be terrified if there's an audience. But this is still pretty bad.
Because there's some people that do live podcasts. And so, like, I think, it's still weird to see us. But at the same time, I think it's something that's very interesting. And no matter what you're doing, even if nobody was in the room, and you're just trying to talk to each other, I think that's sort of weird too.
I think it'd be really cool because right now, you guys can't see, Callie's over there to my right. And then if we got rid of the TV and we put Callie in front of us, that way we can have like a triangle, almost so like a conversation to all each other, whoever's talking. So I think that would be kind of cool. But like I said, we got a lot of stuff to do.
And I mean, we're not actually in a true studio that like is just for podcasts.
We're in Cutthroat Studio, man.
we're in a
Eau Claire, Wisconsin.
I mean, it turns out to be a pretty good like setup we have.
Yeah.
But it's not like, hey, we're spending a ton of money so we can have a studio so it can actually be set up.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is legit for what we had. But I mean, I just always, when it comes to like being in front of people, I don't care about that. I think it's more awkward.
I think you just don't care what people think.
Well, that's
which
true.
is I think it's a great thing.
Well, that's true.
When you don't care what other people think of you, I think that's a phenomenal thing.
You always try to like. I mean, you're never going to be like overly rude.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you hate me, you hate me.
Yep.
If you like me, you like me. I'm not going to worry about it one way or another. Just like if I like somebody, I like somebody. If I hate them, I hate them.
Yep.
And so I know hate's a a bad word to use, but at the same time, it's like I'm not going to try to please you just because you don't like me.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think there's definitely a fine line with that to not that you can't offend people with your opinions, but just that by not caring what they think, by saying something that could.
Oh, 100%. I'm not going to go out of
line.
I think we're not talking about being a sociopath, but
and I'm not going to go out of my way, but
and we're not intentionally rude, but it's great that when someone says something rude, it really doesn't offend.
Well, it's where you speak your mind, or you can take it. So like for my mindset is that if I dish something, I have to take it back.
Yeah.
So like if somebody comes up and calls me a name, like for high school and stuff, because I don't drink, so a lot of people would say like, oh, you're a pussy because you don't drink, and it's like that stuff didn't bother me. Yeah. I didn't care if somebody hated me just because they thought I was this way or stupid or something like that or fat. Like that stuff doesn't bother me. I mean,
embrace it, right?
Yeah, well, exactly. And so like, I mean, how many of our friends are like that? I mean, a lot of our friends are like, they're not going to go out of their way to hurt somebody.
No, I think we have a pretty good group of fellas, and
yeah, so
that's kind of everyone's on the same page a little bit.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like we'll help out people all the time, but we're not going to go like if it's somebody that we don't like because or they they're rude to one of us or something like that, we usually just don't talk to them at all.
Yeah.
And so I have friends that I really like, even though they are rude to me, because they can take it also. Like
right,
if you
exactly.
can, if you
if
you can give it out, but you can't take it, then I don't want to hang out with you.
Yeah.
Like you could call me an idiot, you can call me whatever, but if I call you that back and you can't take it, I don't really want to deal with you. No. So,
also with that being said too, like he said, we appreciate everyone's input. We do know there's a lot of issues, but also if you guys need help, I mean, we're not obviously professionals, but I have a lot of research put into it. With equipment and stuff like that, I mean, we'll be happy to help you as much as we can.
Like how our setup is and stuff like that, because it's like, I mean, as you can see, there's some light coming through.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not the perfect setup, but I mean, no matter what, like, how we're trying to get stuff out on the platforms.
It's pretty much as good as you can get without being in a professional studio.
Yeah, I would say that's true.
Because, I mean, as far as we have all studio equipment, which is really cool and nice, but there's a lot of things that go, like when we got that camera, I had no idea how many settings were in that stupid thing.
Oh, yeah. But you also put a lot of money and a lot of research into this to try to get it to set up. I mean, the thing with podcasts, you have a lot of people that start podcasts that don't have a lot of money. They just, or don't have the resources to figure out what the best way is. I mean, you have a lot of computer knowledge when it comes to that stuff to try to figure it out. But at the same time, I think a lot of people just do podcasts because they're fun.
And at its core, that's what it should be.
Yeah, like, I mean, streaming. A lot of people stream their video game play just because it's fun. Yep. If something happens from it.
And great. I think it's great, too, in this day and age, you could take what you love and pretty much make money at it. Which, eventually that'd be great. If we ever got to that point where we could make a little bit of money doing this, that'd be amazing. Well,
and I was telling somebody, that's why we got Diet Fago. Hey, Diet Fago. It's free advertising now, but we'd really like to get paid. No, but I was telling somebody the other day, I go, it's hard to tell your kids not to play video games or to sit inside and do stuff. Well, yeah,
especially when they make so much
Well, that's
money.
what I'm saying. And it's like, you look at, it's a lot easier to become it's weird to say, but it's easier to become a professional gamer and make some money off of that through streaming and stuff or anything than it is an athlete. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, based on percentages, absolutely. Yeah. But they still, even these professional gamers and whatever, enthusiasts or whatever you want to call them, they still have hours and hours of actual practice put into this to perfect their art as well.
I mean,
it's like musicians.
And it's still a very small percentage of people that aim for that actually are successful in doing that. So it's one of those things that still isn't necessarily a... That's what I'm looking for here.
Yeah, like, I mean, it's not a guarantee that you're going to make.
No, absolutely not. And you know what? There's a fine line, too. I do watch a lot of streamers, and I have noticed these top guys, the ones that are making it big, they actually seem like the most, I'm not going to say miserable, but they're almost very short-tempered and unhappy because they turned what they loved. They practiced so hard, they made it a job.
Yeah, and that's...
so there's that fine line, too, of balancing what makes you happy and how much money you make.
I mean, you look at Ninja... And Ninja was, top Halo player, top Counter-Strike, I think he was, and now, like Fortnite, one of the top Fortnite. And I mean, it's the thing with him is he said that he was coming home playing 10 hours a night after work. You know what I mean? Like, but he also had to, at his old house, and he probably did it at his new house, he had to have literally a line for an Ethernet ran to his house so it never kicked off. The internet never went out because that's his lifeline. So now you have where you're paying, where is the, hey, I got to stream at this time. I got to stream at this time. I got to stream at this time.
Well, I mean, not only that, it's what I'm trying to get at too is when they go home, they're not just getting into a live match playing a 1v1. They're going into aiming trainers. Yeah. They're going into, you know what I mean? Stuff like that.
I mean,
it's not actually fun.
You do have like, Tim the Tap Man and all those guys that they do stream offline with different names and stuff. So it's like, I mean, like you played with Tim on WoW where he wasn't streaming.
Yep.
Because sometimes those guys don't want to have to, do that, hey, look at me, and like try to keep up with the chat and try to, put on a face. They can just sit there and relax and actually get back to what they actually were doing when they were actually gaming.
Yeah, and Tim says it all the time too. It's his favorite game is World of Warcraft. There's just no viewers in it.
Yeah,
it's not that popular of a game.
You know, back in the day, yeah, it would have been
it
great.
is, but you not compared to Fortnite.
Well, and it's different because I think like World of Warcraft is such a big game, and it's not where it's, you know, there's not a defined, okay, this game's done. Right. You know, okay, now we can take a break and you guys can go do something. It's like with World of Warcraft, it's how many years or how many days of gameplay to do one thing, you know, or to like, or like if you have a raid or something like that. But when you look at it, like Fortnite, okay, there's 100 people, then whoever gets first after those 100 people are dead, you know, and once you're dead, well, now they have like a reboot, but or whatever, but
yeah, there's a whole bunch of things. I mean, it all comes down to the same thing, but
yeah, but so it's people want to watch that game. I mean, even like, you know, and that's the hard thing, I think, too, when like Summit couldn't find a game that he liked, you know, and that was a struggle for him because that's his career, but you want to actually enjoy the game.
Yeah, and here's something I want to bring up, too, is all these parents that say, yeah, my kid sits there and watches other people play video games. It's like, well, it's not a bad thing. You got to think of it, too. If you wanted to be the best, let's say YouTuber, for instance, you're going to sit there and watch someone
how they
their
do
YouTube
it,
videos.
how they do it.
That's the whole point of all of that. It's you know what I mean? It's not like... But I mean, so I kind of disagree with that.
You also have this scenario, too, where it's like, okay, say a 16-year-old sitting in their house playing video games, right?
Yeah.
Okay, is that any worse than them going out and drinking at a party and getting in trouble? You know what I mean? I'd rather have my kids sitting at home playing a video game than to actually be out drinking at a party. You know, obviously you want them to socialize.
I think it's all, you know, it's all, but that person also might be on the time of their life at that party. It's all contextual.
Well, it's like Juju Smith-Schuster, who plays for the Steelers. He played with like Ninja, and then when they were playing with Drake and stuff on Fortnite, he's like, I'd way rather, you know, I don't go out and party. This is what I do. I'm still a kid. Yeah. You know, he's 20 years old, 21 years old, and he goes home and he plays video games. Yeah. You know, so I mean, it's like, yeah, you're obviously going to do that drive to like where you work out to become a better football player.
Yeah.
But he doesn't, you know, his thing is I just want to be by myself and play games.
And you know, at the end of the day, regardless of how much money you make, I think it's all about how happy you are as a person doing whatever you're doing in life. So.
Like if this never takes off, it's still fun to do.
Yeah, it's
like
fun, and
if it takes off,
it gives us. I'm not gonna say purpose. It doesn't really give us purpose, but it gives us something to be excited for.
Well, like I had people ask me, why are you doing a podcast? You know, why? Oh, that's just stupid. That's just, you know, this, and this.
And that's fine.
And I said, it's just for fun. If it takes off, great. If it doesn't take off, great. Yeah. Because it's something that we can just do that like lets us have something to do.
And not only that, being competitive nature that we are, we're also going to continuously strive to get better, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's not
even if it doesn't get us anywhere.
Yeah, but we're still always going to get better. And you know what? If we do it long enough, we're going to go somewhere.
Well, and that's
it's just a matter of
persistence and trying to like actually like evolve and get better at stuff. Yeah. I mean, because it's like when I think of, okay, why do you do that? I mean, look at how many stupid games that we made up when we were kids.
Oh yeah,
like
power ping pong.
I mean, but we had ESing, which is extreme sledding. We would go to random spots with like trees and like try to sled around it. We had that, I think it was screen ball, where we took a screen and we were trying to hit, you know, we were playing by the old school. I mean, we made up a ton of games.
Tons of, like, literally can't remember.
We literally dug a hole in the ground to make a pool, and then one of our buddies' mom, I don't know if you were there at the time or whatever.
The bunker?
No, you guys did a bunker. I wasn't there when the bunker was there, but we dug a pool, and we put tarpon and filled it with water, and Winetta got so mad at us because we dug this big pool, and then we're acting like we were lifeguards and stuff, trying to save each other in the ground. But I mean, there was stuff. We used to backyard wrestle.
No.
So like, his name was Blockade. Did you have another name?
I had
just
a few.
Blockade. I thought.
Icon.
Oh, did you? Oh yeah, Icon.
I had a few.
Because like I was Toxic, and then I was Green Panther, and then
it sounds really stupid when we say it now. No, but it was pretty fucking cool.
I mean, at the time, it seemed really cool. It was
pretty cool.
I mean, we would do stuff. Even though like 3 of our buddies were always in the main event, we never got to be. But he would always, so like if I had to backyard wrestle him, he would always go, so we'd have a ladder. We always had ladders out there and stuff like that. But he would go, so we'd always have somebody recording.
Listen, you got to have dreams. I know what you're going to say.
We'd have somebody recording, and then somebody would play some music. You'd walk in, you know, do your stupid entrance and be like, oh yeah, look at me, like I'm the man, you know. Yeah. And then, but every time I wrestled him, He'd get up on a ladder, try to go to almost to the top rung, and go, "Can I do a moonsault on you?" And I'd be like, "Sure." And he would always come all the way back down to the second rung.
I just kind of flop on him, just like, "Oh, maybe next time I'll get it."
And just like fall lobby. So it was like,
this was like 30 different times I've done this.
Oh, all the time.
I've always been a dreamer like that.
Well, I mean, those were like some of the best things. Like we built the deck, like a portable deck. And then built the house on top of it.
Yeah, we built the deck house.
Yeah, and now it's not there anymore. But but it was stuff like that. I mean, we literally did that all the time. But that's what we did. Like when we were kids, we would always go around and we would always do. So I mean, this is just sort of like one of the evolutions. Obviously more of a mature evolution off of it. But it's still just for fun because we've always created our fun. Like we don't really. Well, I don't drink, and he barely ever drinks. Like so, like this is something that we've always like. Hey, we want to make our own fun, so this is one of it.
And we want to expand off of this. Like I said, we have it in the mind already. We're gonna have guests. We already kind of have a setup ready. We're gonna have a guest over here. We're gonna move the camera so the angle's over.
Yeah, we're definitely reaching to get better. And speaking of that, if people have suggestions or things like that, leave comments on the YouTube channel or suggestions for topics. All those things are welcomed.
Negative or positive, we'd be more than happy to listen to. Because overall, it's just going to help us.
And one thing that they did say is Callie does have a great radio voice.
I have noticed that too. When we did our first one, Callie had the most natural radio voice.
So right now, she's number one in the viewers' hearts.
Yeah.
Yep. And we're just two fat tubs.
Two fat guys that can't talk.
That's why she can't be on camera yet, because she's not fat. Yeah. So
then they'd have to change it to 3 tubs.
Yeah. No, you're not fat enough to be on the camera.
What about 2 tubs and a twerp? That'd be kind of
We could do that. Yeah. We could do that.
2 tubs and a twerp.
Nah, it'd be like 2 tubs and a nerd.
Yeah.
Or dork.
Yeah.
So if you guys actually,
I actually want to do a segment. We could do like the nerd bashing segment. Just take the nerds.
We could do that.
Bash them. Yeah. Be kind of fun.
Will we bash you? Will we bash you, or would you bash nerds?
Well, it would be no different than any other day if you bash me.
Oh, wow. Geez. Make it seem like I'm a horrible person. Anyway. Well, okay, so I told Callie, though, if she went to high school with me, I would have bashed her because she was a nerd. Okay, when we say nerd bash, it doesn't actually mean that we would do anything. No. We just say that just to act like
a joke.
We just have a thing in our group where, like, each of us is the toughest. Yeah. So you're just like, oh, I didn't bash that nerd. And it's like
a state of mind. It's not like a real,
like
real
thing. It just goes back to like the whole joking around of
where you can thinking you're a badass.
Everybody knows it's just for fun. Like it's not like a real feeling. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we did stuff like Austin and I. So when we were probably sophomores, maybe we went on this trip to. We went down to Tampa because Jimmy Leonard, who went to our school. Game. Yeah, it was his last Wisconsin Badger game. So they were playing against Georgia in Tampa. And so they were playing, it was a big game. It was supposed to be Erasmus James versus, I can't remember who was supposed to be the big name for the Badgers, but it was Jimmy's last game. Mm-hmm. And so it was Erasmus James versus, I can't remember, but so we were on
his parents, they had a conversion van, a big old conversion van. We're talking the big ones.
So we started going down, and then we stopped at so many Walmarts trying to find a conversion so we could, because we brought the Xbox
converter.
We had a little, what was it, like probably a...
It's an Xbox One?
No, it was Xbox, regular Xbox.
That's what I mean by one.
With like a 13-inch TV or something, but it was old school TV. So like in the conversion van, you know how it has the 2 normal chairs and then the bed or the bench seat in the back. So like my sister would sit in the back, we would sit up front, or else we would switch if the bed was out. We'd like lay down and the other one would play. So like we drove down to Florida. And we played Xbox the whole way.
NFL Street.
Yeah, NFL Street. So he was playing, or else I was playing, or we were playing against each other.
Naturally, I was predominantly better.
Well, not true at all.
Naturally.
Because that's one game that I'm pretty good at, is NFL Street. There's not many, but that's one game that I'm pretty good at.
I would disagree, but that's fine.
Well, that's weird that you would disagree. So, but then we got down there, and we stayed at this hotel in Tampa. And it's actually where I created the name for myself, because I was just like wanted a nickname. And so I created Big Rig, and everybody actually started calling me it at school, even though you guys didn't. But like there's still a couple people that still call me it. But then that's where you started. Well, I'm going to start calling myself Hack a Spade. Or start doing like Hack a Spade, Hack a Spade. And the backstory to that is he had like a scar thing and it would look like a spade. And so he would always say Hack a Spade. Or like afterwards.
I don't know where it started. Was it from like, was it basketball or something? They're like Hack a Spade or something. I don't remember.
No, yeah, really I think it was because we were playing basketball.
Really stupid.
And so anyways, we go there, but this hotel that we were staying at, we later found out there was a lot of gay guys that stayed there. It was like, because the people that ran it, I guess, were gay.
In hindsight, like I'm kind of wondering if he was like a sexual predator.
Well, I said
because.
Well, let's get to that part first. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, we're kind of all over the place, but long story short, we stayed at this hotel. There's a swimming pool there. This gay guy came up. How old were we?
Well, first we were in the elevator and they saw us and they said, "Oh, where are you guys from? Wisconsin? That's where you get those weird O's and A's."
Yeah.
Yeah, we were about 15, 16.
I'd say 15, 16 years old. Anyway, the weird one was when we were by the pool, and I remember he was pushing Kellen really hard. He's like, "Here, I'll give you this money if you take your shirt off and jump in that pool."
And the pool was really cold, even though we were in Tampa. The pool was really cold.
And I remember, too, it wasn't just like one or two times. He was kept asking, like, well, here's $5.
Well, and then he's like,
jump in there.
Well, and then he's like, I'll give you guys $20 if you guys both jump in together. But he was sitting. So do you know when at a hot tub, there's the jets where the jets come out or whatever. Yeah. But this was outside. But there's always little holes on the top of the outside of the pool, so where the water can shoot up in case the jet gets blocked. Well, excuse me. Well, he was sitting on one of those, and he plugged the jet with his foot, and it shot him in the butt. And he goes, "Ooh, that tickled."
Yikes!
And so I mean, it was like, but I mean, he was really nice, but we didn't really pay attention because we don't care.
I don't think he was actually a sexual predator.
No,
I think he was very flamboyant.
Yeah,
but it was still like in hindsight, looking back, it's. Like, if he did that in this day and age, it'd be really weird.
Like, and we didn't care. Like, yeah, we didn't care.
I also think, 15 years ago, it was a lot different than it is today, too.
Yeah.
As far as...
and to be fair, teenagers sometimes look older. Maybe he thought you guys were adults. I mean,
it was, the thing is, like, I was, I was over 200 pounds, like, in high school.
He was a thick boy.
Yeah, and so, and he's almost a year older than me. So, we had, and I could care less if you're gay or not. And the guy just sat there and he started talking to us, and we're just like, whatever. But we didn't, we were two bigger kids. Like, he's not going to do anything to us if we actually,
and that's why I don't think he was.
Yeah, and so
we
didn't.
Being, flamboyant and nice, and I don't know.
Yeah, and so, but I mean, that, like, it was just so weird. Now looking back at it, you're just like,
it was a little weird.
You would get
it was a little weird. Like,
you would
if
get
our
in so
parents
much
would have
trouble.
seen it, they probably would have called the cops.
Yeah, I mean, there was that.
Maybe not then, but if that happened today,
100%.
You know what I mean?
I still remember. We went up, so we had to stay at the hotel room. It was just him and I. I think my sister and my parents went out somewhere. He ordered like 150 wings and like a XL pizza, and he thought like, oh, well, that's not going to be enough. I should order more. And I'm like, because I think his mom gave him so much money for the trip or whatever like that.
150 wings.
Yeah, it was a lot.
It was a big box of wings.
Was it like a special they had?
I don't know. I honestly can't remember.
No, I think he just looked on the pamphlet.
A lot of wings for the next few days.
I think there was just a pamphlet, and he just like, we need this and this. And it came in like, those tinfoil like containers that come with the lids on it and stuff. That's what it came in. And Tim ate them the rest of the trip.
Tim's a stepdad.
Yeah, Tim's my stepdad, and he ate those the rest. He does not, if he doesn't have to spend money on food on trips, he doesn't. Like, he brings salami with bread. He brings, like that.
But that's
he's
also
like,
why he's a successful business.
Oh, 100%. So. And it's like, he's like, I'm not letting these wings go to waste.
Yep.
Like, so we ate them the rest of the trip. Yep. There was one other thing, and we went to,
Park?
Yeah, what's the or is it not Everglades?
The Everglades?
Yeah, in Florida.
Yep.
So we went there, and Tim is incredibly scared of snakes.
Oh, I remember.
Incredibly scared. And Chelsea didn't know either. We bought it. Yeah.
We bought this snake. It looked incredibly real. Even the way you could hold it up like this,
had like slits,
and it would actually like hold out straight and like slither. It was creepy. It looked so real.
We bought it at one of the stores.
Yeah. But it was like, I don't know, it was like $10 or something.
Yeah, like, so we put it out because we first scared Chelsea. We were trying to scare Chelsea.
Do you remember? She's like, don't touch it. It's going to kill you.
Well, so we're all in the van, and I'm like, oh, look at that snake. Look at that snake. And
Kellen's like, I'm going to pick it up.
Yeah.
And Chelsea's just, don't pick it up.
And to be honest, there was karma in that because I still remember it like it was yesterday. We were in this parking spot, and it's out there in the woods, and we're like, Austin's like, go get it. And I'm like, no, yeah, okay, I'll go get it. And just like freaking out. And I smoked my elbow so hard on the door. My elbow was sore for like 2 weeks after.
Serves you right.
Well, I went to go grab it, and Chelsea's just screaming at me like, no. And I'm like,
it could kill you.
So I grab it, and she's freaking out, and I like throw it over by the end. And then she realized it was fake. But Tim,
do you remember? Okay. Tim was freaking out, obviously.
He wasn't there yet, but we got him later.
But afterward, when he knew it was fake, he still was like, get that fucking thing away from me. He knows it's fake. He still will not even come close to it.
It was in the hotel room.
Get that fucking thing out of here.
We still had it, and he threw that out the door, and he punched me as hard as he could because he's like, you know I hate snakes. Get this away from me. And I'm like, funny. But I mean, like the trip was incredibly fun. That was
a great trip.
There was a girl that, and this, like more common now. But it was around 2001 when this happened. So, but I was laying in the back seat on the bed part, and we stopped to ask this girl for directions. And she was sort of cute, especially when you're a kid. You're like, wow, this is, and she pointed at an area, and she just had the biggest bush of hair in her armpit, and I wanted to throw up so bad. Like, I know it's more commonplace now, but she was like this hippie like girl, but I was like,
maybe she was European.
I don't know.
Well, I don't know, but it was like, that was the first time I think I ever saw a girl with hair in her armpits, and I was like, this is. And then everybody after we drove off was like, "Do you see that? Do you see that? you see the armpit?" And I'm like, I mean, it was weird, but it was like nowadays it's like, if you go to probably California, there's probably it all over the place, and it's whatever. I mean, it's not my cup of tea, but maybe somebody else's.
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't all the way down to Florida. Wasn't too exciting until I got into Florida. Like, I thought a lot of states were really weird.
Oh,
it's the way they were is just kind of weird.
Like a lot of the southern states.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't want to offend anyone, but I found like Georgia especially like really weird.
And the funny thing is, she was just talking about Georgia, how much she likes
that girl? I don't even remember who this is. I don't know if it's a hotel girl, but she could not stop laughing at us for the way we talked.
I don't remember that, no.
A lot of people have this thing with Wisconsin accents. And
no, like she was dying laughing.
Oh.
Was that the
she's like, I'm sorry. Yeah, that was the O's and A's girl. And it was just like,
well, and it's like, what are we supposed to do to change our friggin'...
But anyway,
But that's the fun of road trips is just, seeing all the different kinds of people and the different way people live and things like that.
Oh, it was fun. I mean, it was fun road trips. I mean, it was just...
We actually got to plan our next big trip for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, we went to Vegas.
That was
a fun trip.
A group trip.
I think we should do like an Australia...
it's burning right now.
Ireland. Well, yeah, we'll wait till
what's left of it.
Yeah.
Fertilizes and grows.
Callie. That's a burn.
Yeah,
that's a literal burn.
I have a couple of friends in Australia that subbed us, so
yeah.
That would be nice.
We got so many subscribers.
I think it's terrible.
But here's the thing, right? When things burn, it grows like twice as green, twice as fast, right?
Oh, when that comes back, the vegetation will be like crazy, I think.
So there's kind of a silver lining there.
It's just obviously trying to get the animals back and stuff like that.
And I think it's pretty much contained everything right now.
Well, they were saying that that koalas were actually dying even though people were giving them water because people didn't know how to give koalas water. So the koalas were so thirsty that they were drinking out of their water bottles as fast as they could, and that's really bad for a koala. And so like their stomachs would like burst or something like that because they have to like slowly drink water. Well, they were so thirsty that they're just, and people don't know, they're trying to help out the koalas. So they're dumping water for them and they're just chugging it and it wasn't good for their body.
Bad.
And so, I mean, but I think a lot of them, obviously are.
I think a lot of them are fine. And I think.
Yeah. Well, I would, but I would love to go to Australia.
Yeah. Australia, Ireland.
My parents went to Costa Rica, said it was beautiful there.
Yeah.
The only thing
Costa Rica, that'd be cool.
The only thing is, they went ziplining. I don't know if we'd be able to go ziplining because
You can.
Well, what's the weight limit though?
Well, when I did it in Vegas, both times it was 300.
So, and if we're under that, well, like we can't go skydiving.
So if he
we're
takes his clothes off, he'll be fine.
But it's one of those things, like, you know, like if you're, let's say you're 295, you're not, you know, but like 295.
Yeah.
It's like, do you really want to push it? Like,
No,
is
no.
it it's like 301 is the
like
cutoff? Like what, you know, like
I'm
how
sitting
far
at like
did they test this?
289 right now. Like, and that's after, but it's
I think
like,
you'd be good.
but like skydiving, I think you have to be.
I honestly, ziplining to me does not sound
She's
that
went
great.
skydiving.
I've been skydiving, yeah.
No, that was funner than ziplining, wasn't it?
It is fun. I love it, and I would go again. But
You went with somebody, right? You
I
had somebody
did tandem. Yeah, I didn't. I won't ever do it myself.
See,
I don't trust myself
freaks
enough.
me. I'd almost rather go alone. I could push a dang cord.
Well, it's
no,
lower. We would have to.
Yeah, it's a lot of. I mean, training and responsibility and things like that.
Well, I
and
imagine
and
if
even
you do it
when,
wrong, you're probably dead.
Right. And even though I went tandem with a person, they ask you if you want to pull the cord, and you have your little.
Did you say yeah? Did you do it?
Yeah, I said yeah. And
Really? I feel like you'd be like, no. I don't
well,
wanna do it."
I mean, because if you screw up, they're there to do it.
Yeah.
You know, and they give you this little like wrist thing that
To
goes
tell you
to
when
tell
the
you
altitude or
yeah,
whatever
yeah,
to-
the altimeter or whatever it's
So
called.
where do you have to be when you?
So you fly up to 10,000 feet, and when you get to 6,000 feet is when you open
Really?
your
I
parachute.
feel like that's really high yet.
It is,
Doesn't
yeah.
that
It's
seem
really
really
high.
extremely high yet?
So
I mean, it seems it, but you probably rather.
so you
do that
free
in case
fall though
something
for
does.
4,000 feet.
How long does it take for that 4,000 feet?
I mean seconds, and it's like your like mind is just blown. Like, and that was my favorite.
Oh, so didn't take very long to fall at all.
No,
Because
gosh,
whenever you
no.
watch it, it seems
Yeah.
like it's
Well-
maybe the 6,000 and down. Is
I
why
mean,
seems-
it might right, and it maybe in. I mean, retrospect, maybe it did take longer than it seemed, you know, happening to
Yeah.
you. And those like split seconds from those 4,000 feet were my favorite. Like, it was just so surreal, just literally watching like the clouds and the
awesome.
ground. That was cool. But then once you pull the cord, which I was so like enamored with what I was seeing, I did not pay attention at all to what altitude we were at. So my person had to pull the cord for us,
really?
thankfully.
So
yeah.
did it like jerk you when
It does, and that's what I was going to say is like the free fall was my favorite part by far because it was beautiful. It was just like an out of body experience, and it just was like out of this world. But then you're like jolted back into reality once they pull the cord, and it
Oh, yeah,
was
I bet.
so uncomfortable, like
it just
extremely
hit you so
painful
hard?
for me. Yeah,
Yeah.
and they tell you beforehand, like with your harness, because there's like the like groin harness like by your legs, and
Yeah.
then you know like chest and stuff like that, and then like one across your stomach, and they'd say like some people it's so tight like around their stomachs and stuff and their diaphragm that then they're up there and they pass out because they're like not breathing, it's too tight,
Right.
and they don't ever say anything, so then they're just like dead weight up there.
Yeah.
And so they said, make sure you tell us, we can adjust midair. And I was like, oh gosh, this hurts really bad. So I was like, I said something.
you
I'm
didn't
like,
wanna
this
do it.
is
Oh.
tight. No. So I did. And so they're behind you. They flex their feet out like hard. So you can kind of stand on their feet to like press up to lighten it up so they can
I
adjust
see,
the
yeah. So
straps.
kind of like pulled.
And yeah, in hindsight, looking back, like, I mean, it seemed like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to do this, but I'm adjusting straps at 5,000 feet in the air seems kind of risky, but
you're hooked to them anyways. So like unless if you really unbutton
all you're really
something.
doing is taking that belt and trying to push it down, right?
no, I
Is
mean,
that
they were
what you're
loosening
doing?
things, tightening
you
other
are. You're
things.
actually-
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, they were doing whatever, and he did it, and that was fine. It helped that, but then the chest one really hurt. But so it was just, it was
So
painful the whole
were-
way down, but it was still beautiful, and
Were
I
you
would do it
still-
again.
Were you more in pain than scared on your way down when you're sitting there at 6,000 feet?
Yeah,
floating
I
down?
wasn't scared the whole time. I mean, I like the anticipation as like you're up in the. I feel like the plane ride in that little rinky-dink plane was the scariest
Scarier,
part.
Yeah.
Oh,
But I guess
like
if
the
you're
whole
gonna go
time-
down, you can at least jump out.
Yeah, you're equipped for it, you know. But like I wasn't hooked up to the person yet.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
Well, you just gotta jump, and then they'll catch up to you. The weight limit for that for tandem is like what 220 or something.
I don't remember.
And then
that,
I think
actually.
the 220 to 250 is where they have to put you to where it automatically rips when you jump out of the like there's a thing that
that
automatically
one goes. I
rips.
think is only at 6,000 feet,
So
or maybe
that's
it's
the
even
sucky
lower.
thing is because you don't really get a free fall. You
Yeah,
get because
correct.
you're
What's
rips
those
right away.
ones where they free fall with like the snowboards?
I don't know.
That's out of helicopters, isn't it?
No, do you know what I'm talking about? You don't really see it anymore, but back in the day, they used to have
And then they
snowboards.
land like on a mountain?
No, they just,
down?
I don't know. It's hard to explain. They do like
Like
sky
they skydive with
like
snowboards.
skyboarding or something like that.
I have not seen that.
No one knows what I'm talking
I
about.
don't
No,
know.
sorry.
Like, is it like skyboarding type thing they would
I don't
call
know, but I know like they'd have a snowboard or maybe it's something else, but it's like a snowboard.
I feel
And then
like-
they'd
Well, it
spin
probably
with and do a
pushes-
bunch
it
of
But
probably
then they would
pushes the
land
air
in the
different.
snow and like snowboard down.
But I don't think so. I think they just land.
No,
like
it probably
normal.
just is like like I said, like skyboarding. It would just probably push the air different, so you could like go off.
Oh.
There's a woman that I see all the time in my job, and her name's Mary Bauer, and she has the record for most jumps by a woman or by anybody in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
For skydiving.
She went up with us, and she
Yeah.
was the camera person
Yeah,
at
so-
the place where we went.
So she
Wow.
works for OSHA. She has probably, 5-6 years ago, she had over 10,000 jumps. So she's probably at like 15,000 jumps right now. But she showed me a picture where she I guess it'd be skydove over top of the pyramids. And they took a picture
like
of it.
in Egypt?
Yeah, in Egypt. It
Wow.
was so freaking cool. Like, and I'm like, I just want to go once, but I can't because I'm too heavy,
Yeah.
literally just sink. I guess you're not sink, but like go down fast as hell. So it's like they don't let you do it because the harnesses and the parachute can only hold so much weight. So obviously, if they're whatever, you can't do it. But
It's another goal.
well, that's why zip lining. I like some zip lines you can't do either because it's only so much.
Yeah, and I know like the only I've done it twice, but the only one I've done or the ones I've done were in Vegas, and I would like to do more like in the rainforest or in the jungle
like
somewhere.
that-
huge one.
Yeah,
That would
where
be
it's a
sweet.
series of them.
Yeah,
You connect
that'd be
from
pretty
here to
cool. And
here.
that's what
But then
Mom
in
and Tim
those,
did. That's
but
what
in
Mom
those
and Tim
smaller
did.
countries, I don't know if their equipment is as
Well, I think
quality. If maybe their weight
in the
limits
tourist
are lower.
areas,
Yeah.
in the tourist areas, I think they have the best equipment there is because obviously they want people to go.
Yeah, I mean, you go to these small countries, their biggest source of income is tourism.
Right,
so I'm pretty
right.
sure they're going to make sure it's
And if
fine.
one person says, "Hey, they died here," they're not going to be like, "Oh, well, because you look at that. What we should set our goal for though is not obviously this coming up year, but 4 years from now, we should set a thing to go to like the Olympics wherever they are. Because in the Olympics, then you get to see the other country if it's not in the United States, obviously, but you also get to see some pretty freaking sweet like events like
I got
competition.
some stuff lined up.
Oh Jesus!
We'll be just fine.
He always says he has stuff lined up, and he.
I got some big plans. So
I
stay
bet
tuned.
It's
I
always
bet you
a
do.
surprise. The last
Either-
time he said that, he had this podcast idea.
Yep.
So
That's-
there
Well,
you go.
I said I told Callie that after I sold my house, if the Packers made the Super Bowl, I was going to go to the Super Bowl. That was going to be my trip, but because obviously the tickets aren't, cheap. But now, they didn't make it. I think I still would have hesitated if they would have made it because it would have been like, okay, that's still $3,500.
We had some conversations about your
$5,000.
idea.
I thought I heard that they were going for like $7,000.
Well, right now when it gets close to the end, there's like some that are going for like 8,400. Because it's like because it's almost at the end and people are like, "Oh, let me go." Because a lot of people go down there just for the experience.
Right.
Like when it was in the cities or in the Twin Cities, I drove over there and you you weren't there yet. You guys weren't working there yet.
For what? I'm sorry. What,
For the Super Bowl when it was in the cities.
Yep.
So like we went over there.
No, do you remember Cree was working there? They had to stay at
at
work because
yeah.
all the hotels are sold out.
Well, that's because we went.
Or they're really, really expensive.
So
I can't remember.
Greg-
one of the two.
Greg, one of my buddies, Greg, and then our other buddy, Kriya, we all went to the Dan Patrick show. One of the Danettes was doing stand-up comedy. And so we wanted to see him. So we went over to this comedy club, and it was funny because it was a like brew pub type thing. It wasn't big. I thought it'd be bigger than what it was, but it's a dog friendly brew pub. So there's a bunch of dogs sitting in there, which was pretty cool. But it was weird to like you watch all these guys on this stand up or like that you see all the time on like Dan Patrick, and then to see them in person and they like come up and talk to you and they're really nice and and it's not because it was more of a relaxed environment because there was maybe 100 people in there, and so it's like it was Fritzy's first time doing stand up comedy, but then obviously for this year the Packers didn't make it, the Chiefs and the 49ers made it.
Yeah. Which is today the big game.
It is. It is.
Yes.
And my pick's still in it to win it because my picks, I picked the Super Bowl correctly.
The picks reset. We repicked. I have 49ers to win.
You did. On the last episode, I gave you the 49ers to let.
Listen, you got Chiefs, correct?
Yeah.
I got 49ers. You got Chiefs.
Yeah, and that's. But
wait, let's do some scores. What do you got?
Okay, well, Callie's not.
Are we going high
you guys
score
aren't
or
going
low
to really
score?
have any. Well, the over/under I think is 54.5 between the two teams. So like 54 points is what they're projecting the two teams to score.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So.
Wow.
So I mean, if I remember right, I looked at it a while ago, but the Chiefs are like a point of like 1.5 point favorites to win. And then, but I'm thinking the Chiefs are going to win 31-24.
Okay.
What do you got?
28-21.
49ers.
San Francisco.
Okay. Callie?
I don't know. I'm only watching
Yeah.
it for J-Lo and Shakira. So
Okay.
Well, okay, but if you have to pick a score.
Just say two random numbers. You might be closest.
all right, let's see. I like odd numbers.
There we go. It's a start.
We'll say 37.
Ooh. God damn.
23. I don't even know.
Okay,
37,
the
23. It's
The
on
problem
record.
here is it's probably going to be like March Madness,
The
where
pro-
some people just pick it because of their favorite color and they'll get it right.
gonna
Like
end up
she'll,
winning.
yeah, she'll have
Guaranteed,
she'll
yeah.
have the best score.
37.
Oh,
You gotta
100,
get it.
100%. Like I'm really hoping though, like you were
I'm
saying.
really surprised the score is that high. The over/under.
I know, well,
I'm
because
really
the
surprised.
Chiefs like average at least 28 points, even though like so it's going to be. I think it will be high scoring too. If I had to choose, I would choose the over. But
Really? You would?
Yeah.
I'd choose under.
yeah, I hate. Okay, when I bet, it's hard for me to choose the under because once that's passed, you can never beat it. You know, the under, if you choose the over, it's like you always have a chance.
Yeah.
You know, and so even
I'll
if
say
it's
in this
sitting under-
particular circumstance, I'm going to choose the under.
Okay, I got the over.
Yep.
Callie over under. 54.5
Well,
points
she's
total.
obviously over.
Yeah, she is. she's
Over.
at like
There we
60.
go.
She's over. Trust me.
So, but you were talking about the halftime show with Shakira.
Shakira and J-Lo. Very
Now,
excited.
I would be very excited.
I always thought Shakira was so hot.
Well,
She's
wouldn't you be
beautiful.
excited? Remember, was it Whitney Houston that had the wardrobe malfunction?
No. That was
Was it?
Janet Jackson.
Janet
Jackson.
Jackson
And
with
Justin
Justin
Timberlake.
Timberlake.
Yeah.
I would be really excited if that happened tonight.
I know. I saw a meme that said like a guy was
Please
just
let
sitting
it
there
happen.
praying, like, please
Who do you
let
want
there
it to
be a
happen
wardrobe
to?
malfunction.
Either one.
I'd
It
say,
wouldn't
if I had
matter.
to choose, I'd pick Shakira.
That I could see.
I think Shakira is so hot.
but I haven't seen what she has looked like lately.
She looks exactly the same, and so
Is
does
she?
J-Lo.
But J-Lo's she's getting up there.
Nah, have
Right?
you seen
But
her?
J-Lo's 51, but she's still, or something, 50.
I think she just turned
but-
50, but like you cannot tell.
But she's gorgeous still.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if it was, I mean, if I had to choose one person, it'd be Jennifer Aniston. But obviously, she's not going to do it. So
She's starting to age.
Well, I don't
I'm
care.
Definitely
I don't
can see
care
she's
if
starting
she
to age.
ages
I've
or
seen her
not.
a few
If
times
she-
on Facebook
Yeah, but
stuff.
she's not a singer. We're talking about.
I know that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
if
stay
I
on topic here.
if
What's wrong
I would
with you?
probably choose J Lo because I know what she looks like better than
Okay.
what I know.
Did you
with
see
Shakira.
her latest movie, Hustlers?
J Lo's?
No, I didn't.
No.
Is it a chick flick?
Is it?
Well, it's that one where she's like a stripper.
Is it
No.
good?
It was real good, but I mean, like if you saw it, you would not think
Is
she
she
looks
pretty
old
sexy
at
in it?
all.
Is she wearing like skimpy
Well,
stuff? or
besides
what?
they're
She's a
both
stripper,
smoking hot,
so-
I guess I'm not terribly excited about hearing their music. I
Well-
like
See, and I
Shakira's
love-
little
I-
Mexican or Spanish, English stuff. I guess kind of cool.
Colombian, I think.
Well, I'm
J-Lo,
not-
I'm honestly not that many songs.
Maybe her
too exciting
older
for
songs.
me.
I love J-Lo.
Yeah, maybe some really old stuff.
Or do you think they'll have a surprise person? Because sometimes
I think
don't
they
have a
always
surprise
bring out
person?
a surprise person. I'm just wondering who it's going to
Probably
be.
Shakira.
I'm saying
Pitbull.
Beyonce-
I'm saying Pitbull
You
That
think it's
makes
a dude?
sense. Ooh, I could see Pitbull
Because
it's-
Shakira and Pitbull
But-
always do.
well,
stuff
and
together
they've
too,
all
right?
got the Latina.
Yeah.
I'm saying this is going.
Latin vibe going
I'm
on.
saying
Yeah, true.
Beyonce.
No,
No,
she,
too big.
No way.
Wow.
No.
You guys just brought
Shut
down
it
my.
down.
I hope it's
No.
Beyonce
Listen,
now.
We
I
have
really-
enough
let us do the
Yeah.
thinking, okay? You just
But okay, Demi Lovato is doing the national anthem, right?
Yeah, and I think she'll do a nice
But
job.
here's
with
the
I
that,
don't
but
care about
was
her
it-
at all.
I don't either.
She's
but
not.
I'm just hoping that
she did was it the Grammys?
yes.
And she started.
How did you know that?
crying.
Yeah,
During the thing,
I didn't
right?
watch it, and I didn't really see much about it. But it
Everyone
was,
said her performance was amazing.
yeah, it was her
Now,
first
don't get
time.
mad at me here.
Okay,
But I didn't think it was that amazing.
I didn't even listen
And
to
I thought
it.
the song, which bless her. Thank God she's better and all that.
So remember when we said that we were going to have technical difficulties?
Just
add one.
Camera overheated, turned itself off, and so you're going to have a weird little clip in there.
But we're back.
But
we're back.
We were talking about Demi Lovato.
Demi Lovato.
We just had a long conversation about her. Not really, but so what did you say? Well, you guys were talking about the Grammys. I was saying
I wasn't thrilled with her Grammy performance, even though a lot of people were. So don't get mad at me. But personally, I didn't think it was that great. I understand she's going through a lot of heartache.
Yeah, well, it was
drug abuse.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think it was, I didn't see the performance myself or listen to it, but I think her emotional display was based on that was, I guess, her first time performing since being back from rehab and things like that.
She's pretty thick, right?
Yeah, she's
always
embracing
been
her. No, it's a much
thick.
different. Yeah, she's embracing her new. It's like she's just. And people are really happy for her, and it sounds good.
Okay.
But I think she's got great vocals, so I think she'll do a nice job with the.
Well, I mean, look at Adele.
Today.
Adele just smokes cigarettes.
And again, if she's happy,
right?
That's all that matters.
Like, because she was clean for a while.
It's been an ongoing battle,
and then she relapsed and tried to hide it from everybody.
I think so. Yeah.
And then she just got back, and so I don't know. First of all, to be honest, I'm surprised you watched the Grammy thing. I didn't even know she was in the Grammys thing.
I'm into culture. Right?
Okay, I'm an uncultured swine. But I didn't. I was surprised that you even watched that at all. To be honest,
I know my shit, dude.
Yeah. Did you watch it on Facebook or what?
It's clips.
Okay, I was gonna say that's sort of weird.
That green-haired girl, what was her name?
Oh, Billie Eilish.
Billie Eilish.
She's weird.
What'd she get? 4 or 5?
What?
Yeah,
what?
she dominated.
Oh, for how many Grammys she got? Yeah, I mean, I know she's super
17?
popular.
Wow.
I think so. She
17?
just creeps me out.
Is her music even that good?
I mean,
for kids nowadays,
is it kind of like sad boy music?
It's real like a downer. Some of them are okay. There's some that are kind of have a cool little beat to them, this and that, but it's all very dark.
Yeah, she has good beats on a lot of them.
Yeah, it's very dark, and to be honest, I mean, I've never really heard her actually sing because her songs are more kind of like talk singing, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know if she has a actual good voice or not.
Do you feel that, because I know she's incredibly popular, probably one of the top singers right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, she does have good voice. But do you think that she would, back when we were kids, that she would have fell under more of that goth/emo?
Yeah, she reminds me kind of like an Avril Lavigne, but on the more extreme side. Yeah,
because it's weird to me that she's so popular that she is.
But I think she got very big in the indie scene. I think that's where she kind of started.
And nowadays this, we were talking about.
But anyway, it's easy to get. I guess I'm not 100% sure on that, but
yeah, I just know that
she's very, very famous right now.
Do you know that? Speaking of the Super Bowl and with everybody that's singing, I was reading a thing today and I was telling Callie that I don't know, I've read two different things, but they say if you look up how many calories does a typical person eat on Super Bowl Sunday, they said 11,000 calories.
And I found that so hard to believe. I mean, I know people overindulge for sure, but I was thinking 5 or 6,000.
Well, here's what you're not considering, right? How many calories does a beer have?
Well, I
that's what
did
she
consider
said.
that. I said, let's say a person has 10 beers or whatever, but a lot of those most people drink a light beer. It's 100 or a little bit. I think, yeah. Like Bud Light.
Okay, well, how many calories are in a Bud Light? Did you look?
I didn't, but I would assume probably 120 or something. Let's see.
So there's 1,000 though right there. I mean,
how many calories did you say?
11,000.
Holy fuck!
But then I saw something that said
that is kind of hard to believe.
Then I saw something that said 6,800, which seems more legitimate than
110 calories in a Bud Light. That's what I thought. You know,
I'm gonna take back what I said. Yeah, that's
extreme.
Not right.
Because I saw it on.
There's no way.
Or I heard it on some radio.
Think about how much food you have to eat to get 11,000 calories. Yeah. That's bullshit.
But she looked. I mean, you started eating those buffalo wing or those cheese.
Well, any
pretzels.
snacky thing that you're gonna
But you're not gonna eat that all day. That's a lot of freaking.
No, I know. But it
food.
is. I mean, just depends on what you do. I still think it's quite excessive. Their whatever estimate is, but I know sometimes people do this. Have you seen this 20,000 calorie challenge? Some people do. Some Fitspos will do this and
that's
to prove
crazy.
something or whatever. And they all day they're eating M&Ms, this and that to try and get to 20,000 calories. It's something that says it can boost your metabolism or something.
I guess if you ate ice cream and stuff like that, I don't know. It's what's your favorite Super Bowl snack? If you had to have a snack, okay, what's your favorite snack?
Just like fucking food, man. Why
That's
do I have to have a
true.
snack?
That's
I like pizza. Like we went through this already. I'll be
Yeah, I
honest.
know, but
Pizza,
but
fucking-
so mine is
but-
Dorito. I'm gonna have some Doritos. When
Yeah, I would
this-
say like
actually, I do have one. I think. Do you guys the nacho dip that you have with like cheese nachos? They
Yes.
put cheese, lettuce,
Like
and
the-
yes.
Oh, taco dip.
Taco dip.
dip.
And we almost bought some.
Yeah, we almost bought some
Yeah,
today.
that's what.
maybe that because that's actually one thing I probably have once a year, and that's every
Yeah.
time
I
I was
just-
Super Bowl at my grandma's.
I would say the same thing, like
Or I
a
used to.
chips and a dip, a chips and salsa, guacamole, a taco dip, that something like that would be my
I guess
favorite.
that'd be snack.
the big thing.
It's like the truth is I don't even like it that much. It's just nostalgic for me.
Yeah, like I love Cool Ranch Doritos. That's like the weirdest combo ever, which a lot of people think is really weird. Cool Ranch Doritos with chocolate milk.
Yeah, you're fucking.
That's
Yeah,
that's,
that's
one of my
pretty strange.
favorite
It's pretty gross
combos
there, Chubbs.
that there is. But I don't know. I'm looking forward to see what the Doritos commercial is.
Yeah,
to see-
commercials. Let's
They usually have
So-
a pretty good one.
What do we got for the top commercials?
Usually
Bud
Coca-Cola
Light,
has
Doritos,
one.
or Budweiser,
Coke,
I should say. Budweiser.
Budweiser. Okay,
They always
pause
have
it
one.
here.
Horses.
Remember the old Bud?
Yeah,
with
the
the
frogs.
frogs.
Those were my favorite.
The
Yeah,
hate,
those were good.
or and then they had the Was Up.
Yeah,
They were the
What's
ones
Up?
that did the
Yeah.
Was Up.
I missed the
They
old.
went from being Budweiser went from having those kind of funny, lighthearted ones, and
To
now
the
Budweisers
heartfelt.
are definitely the
The
heartfelt.
tearjerkers, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
That's Coke too.
Yeah, I guess
do
like
they're
the-
like all kind of going towards that.
They
I
all-
like the funny
they
ones.
all
But we are
go-
living in a society of feelings, right?
I guess.
Well,
so.
before it seemed like commercials were trying to be funny, trying to be
Yeah,
what's
that
the fu-
was fun. Funny was fun.
Now it's
Now
all
it's serious and like try to get people's heart, which is fine.
it tries to get into your emotions, but you're
Yeah.
like, oh, is that a morally wrong thing, or is that a more that's what it seems like it's more nowadays. Is it's like, okay, I want you to feel something. I want you to like really like either cry or feel if that what side is your moral compass on, or compared to like when something walks in and they go, "What's up?" and stuff like that, or Bud, why is there? I mean,
Right.
it's totally different now that.
Allstate would probably have a good one.
Allstate.
Oh,
And I guess
Right, is that
like
the
Farmers
Rogers one?
Insurance too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Allstate.
But
Yeah,
see-
especially
Allstate.
with Mahomes in it.
Yeah.
even
they're
though the
probably-
whole point, like whether it's a tear jerking commercial or a hilarious commercial, their whole point obviously is just to try to get you to remember
yeah.
them.
Yeah.
But honestly, half the time I remember that was such a funny commercial and have no idea who it was for.
Yeah.
You know,
No.
like what it was. Except Budweisers they're just kind of, gotten to be so popular
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But otherwise I usually don't even know.
Well, my
Yeah.
sister said that during the Super Bowl, her and her husband always play a game where they got to try to guess who the commercial's for. And I said, you know how hard that is? Because it's like, it will be talking about something totally random, and then it's a Toyota commercial.
Ice cream
Yeah.
and roses.
Yeah.
Trojan.
Yeah, like and that, but that's what it is. It's like, oh, there's these kids were riding their bikes, now they're a Toyota customer. It's like
Well,
that doesn't make any sense at
okay,
all.
we're
Like,
gonna play it later. We're gonna
be
play
the-
it.
and so it's like, it's like so out of this world that it's like you're like, okay, this makes absolutely no sense,
Yeah.
and this is not going to work at all. But I don't know. I'm just hoping if the Allstate or Farmers commercial, Allstate, if Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes were in it, I think they'd have a really like good commercial because obviously that's their two main spokesmen.
They were
But I don't
already in one together.
I know, but I'm saying,
Oh.
but if they were playing each other in the Super Bowl.
I think there's
Patrick
gonna be-
I see what
Mahomes-
you're
I haven't
saying.
watched any of these. I know you said they're all available to see.
Mhm.
I haven't actually
I haven't
watched
watched
any.
any
I'm
either.
hoping there's
haven't.
one where it's like an Allstate where like Mahomes is missing because he's at the Super Bowl.
Oh, and they're trying to find him and stuff?
Rodgers like, yeah.
Sometimes
so-
they
something
sort of
like that.
That'd be
Sometimes they
funny.
sort of do
Yeah.
those live type of
Yeah,
like
like-
interactive kind of deals. Yeah.
That'd be pretty sweet.
And that was kind of a new thing this year too, unless I've just been out of it for a while. But that all of the commercials or most of the commercials were released like in advance. Like
I didn't know that
people
till
like
you were
all
saying
week
it.
have
I
been.
don't actually like that.
I don't either because
I think it's
yeah.
degrading.
Like for people
the
like me,
commercial.
that's the only reason I watch.
Well, and it's
Yeah.
like
Super
it's
Bowl,
like
so-
$2 million a commercial. Or
And to be
Yeah.
honest,
30
I really
seconds.
don't. I could really care less about the Super Bowl myself. This is about the most neutral Super Bowl could ever get right here.
Yeah, see, like
for
I
me.
want the Chiefs to win because obviously the Packers lost to to the 49ers, and Chiefs are one of my favorite teams because my stepdad lived down there forever, and I would
Yeah.
always go down there.
Yippee-ki-yay, man.
Yeah,
Die
well,
hard.
But no,
Anyway.
I'm not a diehard.
All right, we're going to wrap it up here. We're going to touch base on one thing that we weren't going to because it was done 100 times, but we're going to kind of give our thoughts on the Kobe Bryant thing.
Yeah, because Kobe, what was when I was growing up, was him and Tim Duncan were two of my favorite players.
Yep.
So, like, I was always a Bucks fan, but those teams, the Bucks weren't that good. So those teams sort of took precedent when, like, Kobe and Shaq, and then you had Tim Duncan and Dave Robinson and all those guys. And so those were two of my favorite. Though they are probably my two favorite players of all time. So, you know, it is devastating that somebody like that passes, but he always did say he wanted to die young so he could be immortalized. And not that you obviously want him to die young.
I'm sure if he had his choice, he'd pick no.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
The sad part, I think, is his daughter. Is what kills me the most. And I think it's not even that, it was a young girl, which is sad.
13, yeah.
But what kills me is when you look back and see how cool she was.
Well,
you saw her playing basketball.
She was a great athlete.
She was the mini Kobe.
Well, I mean,
that's the hardest part.
So much promise, so much to look forward to.
And it's sad anyway, but like I said, it's the fact that you can almost relate to her because she was.
Well, she put in a lot of work.
Almost like she'd be like a dream kid, right? She plays basketball.
She had the system in place to make her great, but she was already a great player. Yeah. And like she always wanted to go to UConn. UConn gave her but they say that she might have been like from how she was developed at 13, maybe one of the best girl basketball players of all time.
Well,
and so I mean,
it's
obviously
pretty easy to say something like that.
Obviously, you never know, but you have a dad that's an incredible
all
athlete.
You know is there's a humongous amount of potential there.
Well, and it's like,
but let's not take away from the fact there's a whole other family.
Oh yeah, there were seven
children,
other people.
Right? And
7 other people.
Yeah,
and 3 or 4 of the girls played on that team or went to that camp, and so I mean, you have. I mean, obviously it was a tragic thing, and it was all that there was, that there was fog and all this stuff. Nobody really knows exactly. They haven't came out with the true case of what happened. They think it was the fog. You never want to see anything happen, and even though it was a horrible situation, I am happy that Kobe and his wife had a pact where they couldn't ride on the helicopter together in case something did happen. And it's a ride that they took hundreds of times.
Here's what the only. Obviously, none of it's good, but the thing that really bothers me, and this goes back to like anything you do, if you're not comfortable, like they were pushing him to fly in that weather.
Well,
like, what I understand is he was kind of not forced into it, but really pushed.
Well,
I guess the moral of this whole story is like, if you're not comfortable with something,
even if you got to miss something, because I mean, they were the only helicopter that took off.
It was a half-hour drive.
Yeah,
is what they were trying to escape. So
yeah, I mean, it's LA and stuff and the roads are busy, but at the same time, it's like they were the only helicopter that had special clearance. Like even cop helicopters, LAPD and all that weren't going up because of the weather.
Yeah.
Like, and like news choppers weren't going up because of the weather. That's a situation where it's tragic that it actually happened because it should have probably never, it could have been prevented.
Yep.
And so, but I think we'll leave it on that note, just something that it was tragic and
thoughts and prayers
so
to all of the families of all of the people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody, not just Kobe and Gianna, but everybody,
all of them.
So,
with that being said, whoever made it to the end of this video that's who we want to hear from. So leave a comment below, and give us
like
your
and
input.
subscribe.
We'll see you
share
next
the
time.
video.
All right, we're 2 Tubs, and we're out of here.